Hey, and welcome back to Vita versus 3DS. In this installment, we are going to compare in depth the Nintendo eShop against the Vita PlayStation Store. I briefly touched on this in my organization and navigation video, but I didn't go in depth, and a lot of people really wanted to go in depth, and I think that it's it's the online stores for each system, so it's a very important topic to go over. So this will just focus on that. So let's boot it up here. Now, as you're about to see, and as I did show in the other video, that whenever I load the eShop, it asks me for my birth date, just to make sure that I'm of age for the content there. It shouldn't do it for anybody outside of Quebec. For some reason, my wonderful province in the Great White North decides that I have to verify my age every single time. And I think it's about time that they get on that, eh? So I hope that that's not an issue in a while. Anyway, doesn't take very long. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few things that I like, and then a few things that I dislike about the eShop before moving on to the PlayStation Store and Vita. First thing that I'm going to mention I like is that is the Virtual Console here. No game on the Virtual Console should, from the SNES era or before, should cost more than $5. And with very few exceptions, I think the only exception here is one of the Zelda games, I think, which is $6, I think. That's the only, this one here, Link to the Past, or rather Link's Awakening. This is the only game that's over $6. So for the most part, they're all very well priced. They're all $5 or under, and that's just fantastic. Another plus side to the eShop is that every week the layout looks different, and this helps to keep it looking fresh, and pushes new items to the front that you normally wouldn't have seen. Like it may push an older game to the front, which you don't normally see on any other systems. Another thing that I like is the option to navigate with the buttons. So unlike on Vita and unlike on, of course, iPhone, which doesn't have any buttons, you can navigate the store with the buttons, which is a nice plus side, especially if you don't want to bother using the screen. Although the screen is superior, like I find it's just easier to navigate around with the screen. If you want to use buttons, are there. Another really cool feature is the rating system. And the rating system on the eShop, I find, at least in my opinion, is superior to the PlayStation Store's rating system. And I'll show you why. It's actually really comprehensive. So let's say if I wanted to rate Kid Icarus. First of all, you had to have played the game. Secondly, it takes your demographic, your gender here. You enter your age. Let's say I'm 66. So you get to rate it with 5 stars here. So you could choose your rating of it, whichever rating you want. So for this game, I'm going to put it 4. And then you get to actually go in depth with it. Like you can say it's for everyone, for gamers. You could say, you get to just say more than a 5-star rating, which, is really, it's nice. So when you check the rating, it gives you, like a more feel of whether you're going to like it or not just a 5-star rating, that's all the PlayStation Store has. So I like that system a lot better than the PlayStation Store rating system. Though by far my favorite feature, and lastly, my last advantage here, is the direct streaming off the store. And I'll show you here. So whereas on Vita you have to download every single video, on 3DS all you have to do is you can stream it directly. So you can click on the video, it loads it, bam, done. And you can stream the video right there. It takes 2 seconds. You don't have to spend a long time downloading it. I think that's just really, really great. It's nice and quick, and yeah, instead of spending hours downloading a 100 megabyte video, it goes much faster. There is a little issue though with the resolution. I mean, the resolution is kind of much lower than what the 3DS is capable of. I guess that's why it loads so fast, but it looks fine anyway, and it's in 3D, so 3D is disabled here, of course, but anyway, it's in 3D, so you can watch it like that. So some areas where the eShop stumbles, I find that the applications for the eShop are overpriced, really overpriced, and stupid. Where's Skype? Where's Facebook? Where's Twitter? Where's Foursquare? Netflix is there and that's great, but Mario clocks don't make up for the lack of universal apps such as those. Another downside is that you aren't able to uh, perform a background download. So once you start the download, it takes you to an animation that you have to watch. Now, you still have the option to download it later. You have a download later option in which you can queue up 10 downloads to be downloaded when you put your system into sleep mode. But this doesn't make up for the fact that you can't download things as you're playing games or using apps or doing anything else in your system, which sucks. Another major downside, but which has been steadily improving, so I'll give them that, is there's barely any demos in the store. The system has been out for quite a while now, and there are only 13 demos on the entire store. Vita's only been out for less than half a year, and it has almost twice the demos that 3DS has. And speaking of demos, as many of you 3DS owners know, there's a limit on the amount of demo playthroughs that you could do. Most of them are 30, have a 30 playthrough count, and that's a lot. There's probably only a few demos that I've played 30 times on any system. Maybe Ninja Gaiden on PS3 or Burnout Paradise. That's the only two I can think of right now. But there's probably a few demos anyway. But I mean, recently I downloaded Spider-Man for 3DS, the demo, and that you can only play 10 times. So like, I definitely have played some demos more than 10 times. Definitely, and that's kind of a bummer. I wish that it didn't have that. It's not the end of the world, but it is a downside. And finally, the last downside is the navigation. The navigation is a little bit cumbersome and disorganized. This is by far my biggest gripe. And like, although there are random categories every week, it's nice to freshen things up and everything. It ultimately just leads to a more disorganized store. You can easily navigate where you want to go with the eShop, but I mean, it's just not well organized. And once you get to the categories you want to go through, let's say if you use search function here, which is nice. Once you get to the categories that you want to go to, let's write Zelda. You have to scroll horizontally, sometimes through multiple pages. You can't just see everything, and of course sometimes it takes a while to buffer. I wish you could just see everything right away, and like on Vita, like this one has a page 2. And it's just clumsy navigation. It's not fast, it's not quick, it's not precise. But anyway, it's not the end of the world. Gets the job done, and overall, the eShop has really improved over the last little while. So now we're gonna move on to Vita. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to reviewing the PlayStation Store. So the first positive I want to mention is that I really like the live area screen here, because you could just pick and choose something if it catches your fancy at the beginning. So let's say if I wanted to check out Motorstorm RC, I just hit that button there on the live screen. It goes, of course it's going to connect, and then it goes directly to it on the PlayStation Store instead of you having to navigate there. So that's really neat. I like that. So the next thing I like is that how things are extremely organized on the store. They're really great. All the new games, apps, and downloadable content are pushed to the top of this tab here, the Features tab. And everything you need is a button press away, no matter what. If you want to search, your search is there. If you need to, new releases, top downloads, all, switching to the movie section, everything is a click away. Everything you need to do. You don't need to do any scrolling, which is really great. Under the All section here, everything is organized into specific, never-changing categories, which makes sense. And games and apps are in alphabetical order, as you can see here. Let's say if I go to PSP games, everything is placed into alphabetical order neatly. So if I want to find God of War, it's right over here. It's just super easy and just makes sense. It's right there. It's like you're not making any guesswork. There's no surprises. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, and navigation as a result overall is much faster because there's no surprises and there's nothing popping up that's unexpected or anything. Um, One big plus to the store, one really nice thing is the fact that you can run it while running a game. As you can see here, I'm running Metal Gear Solid 3. Um, this is awesome because obviously I don't think I need to say much about that. The fact that you could, uh, you know, pause a game, move out, go shop around for a bit, maybe download some downloadable content or something like that, or start a download for a video and then go right back, which is that's a huge bonus for the Vita store. And overall, I guess the best part about the store is that there's just more content. Although, let's say for example, although there's nowhere near the full PSP library, as we all know, there are still a couple hundred PSP titles to choose from, many of which are, at a great price point. Many of which are, there's so many $9.99 or under titles here to download, and they're full games. They're not like, little tiny iPhone games. These are full PSP games. They're not even that old because PSP is not that old, obviously. Um, PlayStation Minis, while largely having a reputation of being really crap games, and many of them are, there's still, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them to choose from, and they're all like $5 for the most part or under. Like some of them are 99 cents. They're nice bite-sized distractions. That's what they serve for. Um, there's more demos on the Vita store. There's over 20 demos, and it's only been out for a little bit, which is much more than the 3DS has right now. There's more media. Every big Vita title has a demo for it. While with 3DS, Kid Icarus doesn't have a demo. Mario Kart doesn't have a demo. Super Mario 3D Land, my favorite 3DS title and probably the biggest title in the system in my opinion, doesn't have a demo. Um, these are issues that Nintendo's going to have to address, and issues that I'm happy that Vita doesn't have. So now we're going to move on to the downsides. The first downside I want to mention is that there is no Vita specific show. As Vita owners unfortunately know, Sony loves putting their portable system on the back burner and would rather show off their consoles. The way Vita got completely shafted and sidelined during Sony's E3 press conference, despite having over 25 games on the show floor, is a testament to this. The 3DS has Nintendo Show 3D, a show made just for the system. Vita may have Pulse, which is their answer to the Nintendo Show, or is the Nintendo Show an answer to Pulse? I don't know which one came first. I think Pulse came first. Anyway, it may have Pulse, but the majority of Pulse, like Sony's mantra, of course, is on PlayStation 3, not on Vita. So there are many Vita owners that own only a Vita and they don't own a PlayStation 3. So what's the point of watching Pulse, really, if they barely pay any attention to it, like Sony does with their portables? Meanwhile, 3DS has its own show. Like they only show 3DS games, and I think that's a big downside. I really think Sony should get on that and add a Vita show. I think that would just be great, and just pay more attention to Vita in general. Second downside is that the rating of the software on the ratings of the software on this aren't it's not as robust as 3DS. You just rate, it's 5 stars. It's not horrible. I'm happy it's there, but it's just not as robust as it is on 3DS. And also, there's like plenty of games, like for example the Call of Duty games, which are absurdly popular, which is great, but are hated by the hardcore community. And guess who votes on these things? It's the hardcore community. So anything with Call of Duty on it usually has a much lower rating than it deserves, in my opinion. Anyway, also you can vote on demos or games which you haven't actually played yet. You can just you say if you buy a game or download a demo, you can give it a 1 without actually playing it, which is meaningless, and you can't do that on 3DS, which is pretty cool. Another downside is that while many PSP games and Vita games are adequately priced, many of them aren't adequately priced. For example, why is Plants vs. Zombies, where is that game? Anyway, whatever. Why is Plants vs. Zombies $15? Isn't it $1 or something like that an iPhone? $15. Why is Tekken 6 for PSP $40? They came out years ago. Why is it still $40? That doesn't make any sense. You know, it's just these strange pricing things. Like, why is Loco Roco 1 more than Loco Roco 2? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, hopefully Sony will figure it out. And last and most importantly, the eShop music is better than the PlayStation Store music. I'm sorry, but it really is a lot more catchy. Obviously, that's a joke one, so don't flame me for that one. Anyway, so that's it. Overall, I think that I'm not gonna score a winner or loser. Both the eShop and the PlayStation Store have plenty of time to grow, and they both started their lifetimes. They both evolved a little bit already, and we're gonna see lots more. So I look forward to what both Nintendo and Sony are gonna bring to their respective online stores. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.